Are you thinking about making the move to Louisville, Kentucky in 2026? Whether you're drawn to our charming neighborhoods, the affordable cost of living, or the growing job market, you are going to want to make sure to get a full picture of what it's really like to live here before you pack your bags. In today's video, I'm going to give you the truth about the pros and cons about what it's like to live here in Louisville, Kentucky in 2026. Be sure to stick around till the end of this video because the last con I'm going to share with you, in my opinion, is the most tragic con about living in Louisville, and it could really impact your decision on whether or not you want to live here. The first pro of living in Louisville, Kentucky is the cost of living. According to salary.com, the cost of living in Louisville is 2% lower than the national average. Everybody knows inflation is hitting us hard right now, and inflation is a very real thing. So the fact that cost of living figure is lower, that 2% can save you a significant amount of money when you're thinking about transportation costs, grocery costs, education, all of the things. Housing costs are 29% lower than the national average. The median sales price of a home in Louisville, Kentucky as of 2025 is $275,000. Even with our rising prices here in Louisville, homes are still significantly cheaper here than in many other metro areas. Just this year, I've helped several people relocate, one from Los Angeles, where the median sales price of a home is $1 million. Another family I helped from Seattle, where the median sales price of a home is $900,000. This is significantly higher than our median sales price of $275,000. Your affordability on what you can buy and what you can get for your money here in Louisville is significantly more than many other places in the United States. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything Louisville, Kentucky in real estate. I'm Katie Skeen, your Louisville, Kentucky real estate expert. Every single day, I get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites from people just like you who are looking to make their move to the Louisville, Kentucky area. So whether you're moving from out of state or just across town, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. The next pro of living in Louisville, Kentucky is job opportunity and industry expansion. UPS Worldport is located here in Louisville, and it's one of the largest cargo ports in the entire world. They employ over 25,000 people. They have expansion projects planned for 2025 and 2026, which is expected to bring even more jobs. There are a lot of job opportunities in healthcare. Our largest healthcare employers are Norton, Baptist Health, and University of Louisville Healthcare. Healthcare is actually one of our largest and fastest growing sectors in our workplace. The unemployment rate in Louisville has stayed at around 4%, so that's relatively low and lower than the national average. In 2024, Louisville located 35 new job projects, which opened up 4,571 new jobs. This was a $653 million investment. We ended 2024 with 63 active projects, potentially bringing an additional 4,647 new jobs and $3.3 billion in economic investment. Not only are job opportunities growing, we also are seeing a modest wage growth of 1.6% over the last 12 months. The third pro, which is my favorite pro, is lifestyle and culture. We have so much to offer here in Louisville, Kentucky. I think before I moved here, I wouldn't have guessed this, but you may not have known this, that Louisville is actually a top 25 foodie city in the United States. I have found this to be totally true. My husband and I absolutely love to go out on date nights to try new restaurants, and it feels like we could go to a new restaurant every single weekend and never run out of options and delicious food. We have so many award-winning restaurants. We have chef-owned restaurants. Of course, there's a strong bourbon and cultural scene here as well. That just makes way to all of this creative cuisine that I absolutely love trying. Louisville is also known for its parks and recreation. We have over 120 parks. This includes the Parklands Park System, which is a privately owned park that includes over 4,000 acres of park space. There's rivers and streams and hiking and splash grounds and playgrounds and fishing and soccer fields. There's so many different opportunities for recreation in the Parklands Park System. It's one of my favorite things about living in Louisville. If you love outdoor recreation and you're interested in more information about the Louisville Park System, be sure to check out my video about the local parks here in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, if you're a bourbon drinker, or even if you're not a bourbon drinker, it's really fun to have that as part of our culture here in Louisville. We have several distilleries on the Bourbon Trail located right here in Louisville, Kentucky. And then, of course, you're within a very close driving distance to these other distilleries that are on the trail, and it's just fun to explore. And really, even more than the bourbon, I've learned so much about Kentucky history by going on the Bourbon Trail, and I think that's one of the most enjoyable parts of it, is learning about the history and the heritage that's associated with bourbon. It also brings over $9 billion annually into our economy here in Louisville. The vibe here in Louisville really is truly some of those big city amenities and cultural opportunities mixed in with the small town local charm and friendliness that you'll get. Now, it's not all pros living here in Louisville, Kentucky. There are some cons about living here. The first is the traffic and infrastructure. If anybody has driven through Spaghetti Junction during rush hour, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Spaghetti Junction is an area located just to the east of downtown Louisville where all of our interstates come together in this completely nightmare mess of freeways and highways coming together. If you're ever driving through that area, you have got to stay laser focused on the signage, or else you might end up on the wrong freeway or even in the wrong state. Because of our population growth, and we have a projected population growth of to 1.3 million in 2026, it's putting a lot of pressure on our interstates like I-64, 65, and 71. Because of this, the average commute time has now grown to 26 minutes, which is significantly higher than 5 years ago. Now, if you live in a major metropolitan city like New York or Chicago or Los Angeles or Seattle, you're probably laughing a little bit at the idea of a 26-minute commute time, but for those of us who are used to that, this is really a long commute for Louisville. The public transportation system is also really lacking and is contributing to this infrastructure problem. The TARC bus system is not very reliable. It doesn't typically run on schedule, and it's also had to step in and actually help with some of the busing issues that the public school system has. So even some of the TARC resources are now going to the public schools, putting even more strain and stress on our public transportation system. Some of the infrastructure in our older neighborhoods is just not as up to date as it should be. There's unreliable broadband, there's issues with drainage and flooding, the sewer system gets overloaded. So all of these things are contributing to this lack of infrastructure. Now, here in a second, I'm going to tell you about the con that my children are the most scared of. But before I do that, I wanted to make sure you knew about my free relocation roadmap. If you look down in the video description, you'll see a link to this roadmap that I created for people just like you. I remember what it was like to relocate here just over 13 years ago, and I was afraid and overwhelmed, and I didn't even know where to start as far as trying to figure out where to live, which neighborhood would be the right fit, what are even the steps that it's going to take for me to relocate to this area. And so I took kind of everything I learned from that experience and I put it into this simple step-by-step guide just for you. So if you're interested in downloading this free guide that is breaking down the relocation process, please go ahead and grab your free relocation roadmap. I made it as a resource for you, and I hope that it will be a help and blessing to you. Now, the con that my children are most afraid of here in Louisville is the weather. We have some really strong and scary weather that comes through Louisville. The state of Kentucky averages 30 tornadoes per year, and many of them are right here in Louisville, Kentucky. We also have severe thunderstorms and rain. Just this past February in 2025, some of our areas in Louisville got 15 inches of rain with multiple tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings. Just in April of 2025, we actually had a historic flooding event. We saw 7 inches of rain in 5 days, pushing the Ohio River to 36.6 feet, which is the 8th highest crest on record. This flooding caused a lot of damage, road closures, school was shut down for several days, and it significantly impacted people's ability to live their normal life, go to work and school, commute, and be transported around the city. We also had record-breaking snow this past year. In January, we had a 9-inch snowstorm. It was one of the top 3 snowiest January days ever recorded in the city of Louisville. We had sub-zero wind chills and temps as low as -9 degrees. Every year, I think the weather can't be crazier than the years before until I just gave you all of that information just about this past year of weather in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, like I told you in the beginning of this video, this last pro to me is the most tragic and sad pro about living in Louisville, and I actually see it impacting my personal life, and that is the public school system here. Now, full disclaimer, my children are in public school, and we absolutely love our experience in the schools that we've had within the Jefferson County public school system, but I do think overall it is a bit of a broken education system. Only 45% of JCPS students are proficient in reading and 38% are proficient in math. Kentucky spends $16,000 per student, which is roughly $2,400 less than the US national average. Kentucky as a state is ranked 32nd in education, and Jefferson County Public Schools are ranked 51 out of 158 public school districts here in the state of Kentucky. Not only are we ranked lower nationally, but even within that, we are only ranked 51st in the state for school districts. Because of the way they have the school system organized here, a lot of the schools are underperforming. Also, it's not a neighborhood school system, and while I want to acknowledge that there are pros and cons to this way of doing school, I will say that if you grew up in a place where everyone in your neighborhood and on your street went to the same neighborhood school and you walked to school together and you had this really strong sense of community, it's not really like that here. Just within the neighborhood that I live, we probably have 10 different schools represented, whether it be private school, private Catholic school, magnet public school, or just reside public school. There's so many different school options and choices that a lot of the kids in the neighborhoods don't even know each other because they're all going to different schools. And I just see this as a really sad part of our culture here in Louisville. Now, the public school system here is complicated and confusing, but I don't want it to be overwhelming for you. So if you're a parent and you're looking for more information about how to navigate the Jefferson County public school system, I have 2 videos about this, and be sure to check out those videos so you'll know more about how to navigate the public school system here in Louisville. I hope you've enjoyed this video about the pros and cons of living here in Louisville, Kentucky in 2026. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.